Hello everybody. Welcome to today's presentation on remittance processing for the cash applications process challenge number 3, unidentified payments. I'd like to give you an overview before we start. This tutorial is a continuation of the tutorial series related to the challenges associated with remittance processing. If you have not viewed the introduction tutorial, we recommend you do so. In the introduction, we listed 30 areas that our subscribers consider most challenging, so we created a remittance processing series that takes a closer look at each of these challenges in more detail. We are pleased to present this tutorial series and the specific challenges the accounting personnel responsible for managing cash applications process face on a daily basis. Our goal is to help readers navigate some of the more common aspects of the remittance process and guide those building the knowledge base to help them work through some of the challenges they may encounter. Here's today's learning objectives. There are 7 reasons to deal with unidentified remittances. There is a 10-step process to address unidentified remittances, and 6 critical steps to start remittance process improvement initiatives. Now, as I mentioned, there are 7 reasons you want to deal with unidentified remittances quickly. Unidentified receipts that are posted to the accounts receivable or actually some other account that you may have set up for unidentified payments can be problematic for the following reasons. Any payment that's left unresolved long enough, that payment becomes an unclaimed property that requires special reporting and eventually becomes the state's property if it can't be identified. You can't just sweep the account into a petty cash account, for example. It has to be identified or returned according to most state laws for unclaimed property. You should know those laws backwards and forwards, especially if you have a lot of unidentified and unclaimed receipts. For accounting purposes, the unidentified remittance must be accounted for as a liability once it remains unidentified for an extended period of time. And again, rules vary state by state, but think about it. If somebody sent you a payment in error, you owe it to them to get it back to them and let them know that they've already paid for or they have no account with you and that those funds do not belong to you. And then the third one is a reasonable effort must be documented to ensure the efforts have been made to identify the party the funds were received from and how they should be processed or returned. As is the case, most states impose onerous record-keeping burdens on the holders and may reopen past audit periods to search for additional unidentified and unapplied remittances. Obviously, the states need all the revenue they can get, and this is one way that their state auditors do this. Unfortunately, they won't test your entire portfolio. They'll take a sample, and if that sample that they take has a 20% error rate or unapplied, unidentified remittances, they apply that to your entire portfolio, and that can be real burdensome to try to untangle that web. Many states also have overboard definitions of property types and surprise holders by redefining the meaning of unidentified funds. You should keep up to date on the state regulations and avoid surprises, especially if you're subject to audits on a regular basis by the state taxing agencies and reporting agencies. Booking a remittance as an unidentified payment can have an impact on other parts of your organization. Order releases, for example, credit approvals, creating customer satisfaction issues that result in unnecessary collections follow. Just imagine if you got a call from somebody and you had already paid them and they just didn't identify your remittance. The burden of proof is definitely on you to identify that payment. So you've got to have a process in place in order to make sure that funds are quickly identified and not left unresolved. And of course, researching unidentified receipts is usually not a well-defined process in most organizations that I've dealt with. and there is a timeline for resolving is often ambiguous. So you should have a well-defined process and established timelines for identifying all unidentified and unapplied funds.